Hello and welcome back to the We Wait podcast with me, Sophie. I'm so excited to be doing another episode. I can't wait. We have so much to talk about. The first episode really was such a great starting point, and I can't believe the reception that it got. Like I'm so grateful for all of the lovely messages and loads of people reaching out, sharing their stories, their experiences. It's been overwhelming, but in a really positive way. So I'm super grateful, and it only makes me more excited for the future of this podcast and what this could be capable of. I'm gonna level with you. I've been struggling a little bit. Just with ADHD and all of that, and also just kind of general fear and anxiety related to the responsibility that I now feel for this podcast and this community. Because I really don't want to let you guys down. I don't want to let myself down. And whilst the podcast is something that I genuinely enjoy doing, and like recording them is really fun and feels pretty easy for me. I think since releasing the first episode and just speaking to people and I've been doing a lot of like kind of weird and wonderful spiritual things over the past week. And some of it has been really great and some of it's been a bit intense. And I feel a little bit of anxiety around this, and I think that is a common thing. Definitely for me personally, anxiety just kind of came with my ADHD, and I that was kind of the thing that I noticed first, I guess, was that my crazy spike in anxiety, instead of more so like the difficulties that I had with ADHD, you know, like symptoms that are more closely associated with ADHD. I definitely was just like, God, I'm terrified. God, I'm scared of everything, and I'm just terrified. So I think it's only natural that these feelings come up at this kind of time. But I'm trying to persevere, and I know that what we have here and what I'm creating here is a good thing. So just bear with me. I really, from the absolute high that I was feeling off of releasing the first episode, like honestly, everyone has been so lovely, and such an amazing amount of people have reached out and like arranged to meet up with me or want to catch up. And I think like this has given people a bit of insight into me being a bit more of a human being, you know, because sometimes in life we just kind of waddle through and we make assumptions about people, or we don't really have the opportunity to get to know people because like school and life can be extremely fast paced. So you just kind of are friends with the people you're friends with, and it's blah, 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 whatever. So I think for people that I've maybe known for a long time, this is a bit of an insight into me a little bit more personally, which is nice. And it's really nice to level with people on this kind of stuff and share a little bit more about who I actually am as a human being, instead of just someone that you once knew, or, you know, someone that you had a preconceived notion of. And yeah, and it's been so comforting for me to learn how many people in my life are going through the same stuff. Like obviously it's a shame. It's a real bummer, you know, that we're all kind of struggling in our own ways, but I guess it's pretty validating for me to be made aware that so many people have gone through similar things or are going through similar things. It's been a while. I've actually already recorded half of this episode, but that was on Thursday when I was going to be doing the video recording. As you may notice, this is just audio. I think I just was trying to push myself to do too much at once. And I hope you don't mind, but for the next little while, I'm just going to be sticking to audio episodes. You know, I feel pretty comfortable and confident speaking, but there's just such an extra layer of anxiety added for me when trying to add a video. I don't know what it is. I think it just feels extra like performative. I feel like I would kind of feel pressured to really be extra funny and like extra bubbly, make you laugh, or I don't know. It would just, it's too much and it makes me feel too anxious. So it makes the overall podcasting experience less fun for me. And as you may or may not know, with ADHD, it's kind of imperative that the things that you have to dedicate a lot of time to are fun for you or else they're just not going to happen. They're just not going to happen. And I love doing this, and the process of creating that first episode and speaking to people about it afterwards was such a deeply positive experience. Like, truly, I am so grateful for the response and the people that reached out. Like, it was overwhelmingly positive, and it's just made me so much more excited about where this could go, and made me feel so validated in my ADHD and my struggles. So thank you all for that. I'm genuinely so grateful. But I don't want to let you guys down, and I want you to really reap some benefits from this podcast. So if it takes me being my best self or being as close to my best self as possible, then it's going to have to be audio. So I do apologize that I kind of set up an expectation for what episode 2 was going to be. But I'm just not ready for it yet. I'm just not. But it doesn't mean that it will never come. I'm sure through doing these episodes that my confidence will increase. And I'll get to a point where videoing it will be like second nature, kind of in the way that just recording audio right now feels relatively second nature to me. So that's something to look forward to. But for right now, I like to just wear whatever I want to wear and not have to worry about the way that I look or I'm presenting. I don't have to move. I can just sit still and focus on one thing, because it can be overstimulating to be like, okay, so I need to talk and entertain with my voice, but I also need to look entertaining and come across as charismatic in a physical way. Like, having to actually think about the way that I would need to present in this kind of environment was like a weird kind of overstimulating thing that I didn't think I would need to worry about. But I feel a lot less perceived just behind the microphone. So this is where I shall remain for the next little while. So thanks for being chill with that. I'm sure you don't care. So this is great. So a lot has happened since that first episode went live, and I was able to actually meet up with some of my friends and chat with them about their thoughts, and it was so cool for people that I know to reach out to me and to want to share their resources and experiences, even if they don't have ADHD. It's so interesting for me to just learn how this podcast can help a variety of people. So I'm going to get into a little bit of what we spoke about that day. Heads up, I obviously have permission to speak on this. If I ever mention anyone in this podcast or any kind of interaction I've had with people, I've had permission, I swears. Okay. We spoke mostly that day about my friend's experience with bouts of depression, and he had actually found some different coping mechanisms that he had used. I think he's been using for quite a few months now, and one of them in particular was one that he has done every single day since hearing about it, and that is writing down 3 positive things a day. Obviously I've heard of this kind of like task before, because I do feel like it's something that we're prompted to do a lot in like mindfulness practice or like gratitude practicing and things like that. Like, it is one of those things, even just like habit tracking or like mood tracking, that's in a lot of journaling things nowadays. Like, writing down positive things is like something that is preached a lot, but it can sometimes be preached to us in a kind of overly sugar-coated or overly dramatized and theatrical way, and I think men's mental health is of course extremely important, and I think with the kind of patriarchal ideologies kind of based around mental health in men, there's a lot of shame in it, which to a lot of you I would hope sounds crazy, that you should ever feel ashamed of wanting to better yourself or wanting to look after yourself. But it is that kind of societal thing of men having to be emotionally strong and, you know, like emotionless beings. And that doesn't exist, you know, like that's just it's not real. And there is no man on this earth who does not have emotions. He just maybe does a better job at suppressing them than other men. And suppression is not the solution. So I was very glad to hear that my friend has been using those tactics to help himself, and it seemed like it was really working. I mean, he was doing it every single day, and I think to have something that you kind of respond to so well that you're motivated to do it every day is pretty amazing, because there's not that many things, I don't know about you, but there's not really that many things in this world that I would do every single day. Like the only things that I do every single day are because I like brush my teeth, and that's only because I'll like people make fun of me if I don't, you know. Like I would fucking forget, or I only do things every day because it's like the norm, or you know, it's just kind of like I'm just kind of robotically told to do it. So adding stuff into that routine for a person with ADHD is damn near impossible. So like truly props to him. And props to anyone that puts additional things into their daily routine or evening routine, because establishing a routine is so hard. Maybe you should try that out. And it kind of, the reason that I was talking about men's mental health there is because I do feel like the comparison that I've made is like you have, let's say mindfulness is like the feminine version, and stoicism is like the masculine version, right? Now this may be complete bullshit, but this is just kind of like an idea that I have had. And I think when I say mindfulness, I mean like kind of like self-care, like the idea of self-care and how it's kind of just been like, come on girls, put a face mask on and fucking do your nails. And you know, it's like all that stereotypical like feminine, I'm putting that in air quotes because what the fuck does that even mean, tasks that you can do that are caring for yourself. And a lot of things are like writing down positive things is kind of a part of that. Whereas stoicism is the more like, they essentially are telling you to do the same things, but it was coming from a place of like, you're a man who's in an extremely powerful situation, and how can you conduct your life so that you can be the best version of yourself to lead an army or to lead the country or to whatever, to inspire others. So it's coming from a deeply masculine place of like kind of power and responsibility, but they are kind of preaching the exact same shit that self-care and self-help books would tell people to do, but it's kind of disguised in that sort of masculine and serious and like, you know, whatever way. And to me, I'm like, bitch, whatever fucking floats your boat, do what you want. Like if that works for you, that works for you. Because honestly, sometimes all of the like additional stuff of like, bestie, you gotta fucking take out your pretty little fluffy pen, and you gotta get your nice notebook, and then you gotta make a cup of tea, and then you're gonna, and it's like all like creating an atmosphere and like an ambience to care for yourself in. Sometimes stoicism can be a little bit too on the side of like, feel nothing, never cry, people rely on you, sir, you must never feel, and it's like extremely intense. But I feel somewhere in the middle of that is just like speaking plainly and explaining simple tasks that you can do that will make you feel better in the long run. So without the fluff or without the added like seriousness, you get write down 3 positive things a day. And I think that's kind of how it was told to my friend, like just as a simple task that you can do. There's nothing else that you need to do before it. You don't have to think about anything after it. Just write down 3 positive things every single day without fail. And I think he has like a specific notebook that he uses, and he's not allowed to write anything negative in it. It's just a notebook of positive things every day. Yeah, I think the reason that I've heard about it so much, but the reason that I've never done it is because for me it was always in like self-help journals that are kind of already like pre-mapped out and shit. And it was also track all your habits, track moods, and like track how many hours you've slept, track how many glasses of water you've had. It was like buried in amongst all of these other like insane amount of tasks that you had to do. It was like, oh my god, if I don't do all of that, have I had like a bad day? Like, am I failing at loving myself if I don't do all of this stuff? And sometimes it really did feel like that. So it was like, it was a good task and a great idea, but it was buried in amongst all of this extra fluff that was kind of unnecessary. I think for some people stuff like that really, really works, but for me, I think at times I just need it really, really plain and simple, because I'm definitely a culprit of, I need to do this task but I don't super want to. So in order to make it more enjoyable for me, I'm gonna like change the lighting, make a cup of tea. Actually, you know what? Let me shower. Oh, and you know, now I should probably dry my hair. And I'm gonna put some comfy clothes on, because actually I think that would maybe be the most like, you know, it'd be the best for the task I need to do. And I'm gonna make a snack. I'm gonna bake a cake. Do you know what? I'm actually gonna bake a cake. Yeah, and then do you know what? I'll actually go to the gym. Like, it's just, girl, like, just write the essay or like whatever it is. Like, oh my god, can you just fucking do the thing that you need to do? Like, so like for me, I'm just always kind of looking for what I can do to not do the thing I have to do. Does that make sense? So the less fluff for me, the better. Sometimes I like a little fluff. All right, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I dabble in the fluff. But for every day, if I actually want to get anything done in this life, the less fluff, the better. 100%. I think what he was saying was that he noticed that every single day he was actually starting to look for positive things that he could write down. And it just completely changed his outlook and his kind of perception of events, because instead of being more pessimistic, that was slowly, gradually changing into like habitual positivity and like habitual optimism, which is so cool that you can just kind of rewire your brain to perceive life differently. So I would definitely recommend doing something like that. Another thing that we were talking about was kind of self-esteem and stuff like that. And if that is something that you are struggling with, what we recommended was maybe change just one of those positive things to be about yourself specifically. Then the third one is more introspective. Like, what did you do that made your day better? What did you do that made your day more positive, more successful? I made my friend laugh and it made me feel really good. There's a positive thing that happened today that's actually rooted in yourself. And I think if you can alter your brain chemistry to start perceiving life with a more optimistic and positive mindset, then I truly believe that with that same dedication over time as well, that you will be able to, instead of constantly thinking negative thoughts about yourself, you can start to replace them with positive thoughts. And that relationship with yourself will just slowly grow and grow until you're king of the world. You know? And that's the goal, is it not? So yeah, that was a super insightful conversation, and it just kind of reminded me that sometimes the simplest things and just those ideas that are kind of have always been floating around the self-help atmosphere, if you can dig them out and remove all of that excess fluff, you can actually find just a really simple but incredibly effective task. Yeah, possibly something to give a try if depression, or just maybe you're feeling yourself being a little bit more pessimistic lately. The world is on fire. Let's not forget, things are hard, and it's okay to feel like it's hard. It's okay to struggle. But whilst terrible things are occurring in the world pretty much at all times, there is also so much beauty and wonderfulness occurring at all times also. And And we can care about the state of the world, and we can contribute as best as we can to bettering it and supporting each other and supporting other communities as much as we can. But we can also protect ourselves and caring for our smaller communities as well, caring for the people that are close to you, and bringing that little bit of positivity into your day will hopefully impact others positively as well. So that is point 1. I have a little list. Tick that off. It took me 24 minutes. Took me 24 minutes to get to the point. That is maybe a world record for me. All right, so on to the next point that I would like to address. In amongst all of the amazing, lovely, wonderful support that I was getting, a couple of other wellness brands and charities kind of reached out, or I was able to reach out to them so that we could kind of have a little bit of collaboration, or I could just learn a little bit more about what they offer. One of them that has pretty much been supporting this podcast since the first day I even mentioned that it was going to be happening is Kick Mental Health. So I was looking into Kick Mental Health and the kind of things that they offer, what features they have, and the kind of things that they in particular are wanting to promote. Alright, so they are called Kick Mental Health for a reason. It is football kind of focused, getting you into team sports, but something that they offer, which I thought was really valuable and what they wanted to promote most, was their virtual check-in calls. So these are on Zoom every single Thursday from 7:30 p.m. Seems to be a weekly thing from what I can see on their social media. They have said, join us to either talk about what's on your mind or just listen in to the stories of others in a non-judgmental environment. So if you're not ready to quite share what you're going through, but you're trying to get yourself into that sort of headspace, I think hearing other people's stories and listening to other people who may be going through very similar things and how they articulate themselves can really help you to maybe come to terms with what you're dealing with and how you may articulate it to others. Their motto is don't struggle in silence, and it really seems to come through in the things that they offer for people. So they've said if you're looking for a relaxed and supportive place to chat, then that is the place to go. You can come along, chat about anything you have currently going on from the comfort of your own home. You don't need to face these things alone. We are always here to help. So you can DM them on Instagram, or you can comment on any of their check-in call posts if you're interested, and I'm sure they'll let you know all of the details. I've been DMing Ali back and forth. He's lovely and he gets back to me really, really quickly. So I'm sure any little queries that you have, he'll be able to get back to you super fast. They offer loads of active stuff as well, of course. So they offer inclusive football therapy every Monday and Friday, and that is a kind of everyone welcome, all skill and all fitness levels from ages 16 and above, and it is completely free of charge. They also have a women's only football therapy on the Monday. It seems to just be 1 hour sessions running within the Livingston area. They also have Kick Mental Health in Training, which is just £5 a session, and you can also block buy it. Yeah, and it's just a really nice way to get involved with like-minded people and be active. Team sports like that and just like getting out there and running around for a little while is so good for your brain. And it's also just really nice to find a community of people. This is my whole purpose here, and their purpose as well, bringing people together through sort of team sport, but also offering that virtual check-in call as just an introduction to opening up and maybe acknowledging things that you're dealing with in a non-judgmental space. So they seem like lovely people, and I've heard through other people that have maybe worked with them in the past that they're a really great company. So I would highly recommend that you check them out if any of that interests you at all. Yeah, go give them a follow. Instagram seems to be their kind of main thing, but they are also Kick Mental Health on Facebook and Kick MH on Twitter. So go have a little look. Okay, so when I was having coffee with my friends the other day, one of the things that we were talking about, my friend that was there, my other friend, she is neurotypical, and she won't mind me saying she is the most neurotypical person maybe in the world that I've ever met, okay? And she's just incredibly academic, and like, she's just extremely intelligent. Not that it takes being neurotypical to be intelligent, but she happens to be both. And she was on my uni course, music education, and she is going to be and is already such an incredible teacher. And something that she had mentioned to me that she had picked up on, something that she said to me is that she thought this podcast would be a good way for her to hear what the ADHD / kind of neurodivergent journey is and what those kind of symptoms can manifest as, so that she can maybe see it in some of her pupils and help them out. So I didn't even think of that as kind of a way that this could be helpful. I really didn't. So that's really cool. And it's really cool knowing that that's something that she is looking out for. Being able to support your classroom in that way is really amazing, because it's just little lives that you're looking after. And yes, you might be teaching them the curriculum, but they're just kids that are learning how to become people, and that can be an extremely tough time for folks. So knowing that you have teachers like her, it restores my faith in the kind of education system. Like, there are so many teachers from my year that are going out into the world that are just a blessing to the career. So music classrooms everywhere are about to have an absolute upgrade from the class of 2024. So yeah. And she gave me an idea. This is her idea and it's genius, and I wish I'd come up with it, but it is her idea. She said, because I was talking about how much I love colouring in, of course, lest we forget, colouring in is the best. She was like, well, why don't you organise like a kind of group crafting day, or like a community like painting session or something like that? And I was like, yes, tell me more, yes. Absolutely fucking genius. So here's what's happened, okay? Here's the conclusion that I've come to. Based on your reception of this information, and I will put up polls and I will ask and I will whatever, but doing something like a craft pottery day, or like a colouring in and coffee day, just like, you know, a few hours or a couple of hours. I understand that mental health and brain health and all of the disorders that you may be listening to this podcast to find coping strategies for can be, the journey that you're going through is a very personal one. And I think putting pressure on people to speak about it in large groups can be incredibly intimidating. So it's not going to be like a let's all sit at a table and trauma bond, like that's not the plan. But getting together in a little group and just chatting about life, chatting about just getting to know each other without it being, you know, super strict, or you must divulge your experiences in detail in order to come in. Actually, there's going to be a bouncer at the door and you need to list off, so have this prepared. You need to list off every single thing that you have wrong with you. Oh, sorry. No, you don't have anything wrong with you, babe. Okay, you don't have anything wrong with you, and don't let anybody tell you that. But you are going to have to write those things down and then tell the bouncer out loud. Actually, we're going to give you a megaphone. Shout it out through the megaphone, and then the bouncer will go, the bouncer is me. The bouncer will go, nah, I don't really care about what you said, so I'm going to go ahead and turn you away. You only actually get to come in if your story is like super, like, oh, wow, like that's so crazy. Like, you know, like dramatize it, guys. Like, come on, let's have fun. Like, this is getting boring. Like, guys, come on, entertain me. This is what this is. This is what this podcast is. It's for me to be entertained, all right? Sometimes a bit just goes on for too long. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, is it true? Is that how she feels? Sorry. It's not how I feel. Everyone is welcome. And it would just be a calm environment for us to drink coffee or your preferred beverage, non-alcoholic, and maybe colour in. You can bring different crafting activities. But yeah, essentially I would organise a little like coffee morning thing, and we can bring along some colouring in books. We can bring along needle pointing, I don't know, cross stitching, origami, all sorts, and just chat and mingle and craft together, or sit in complete silence. That works for me. Honestly, I'll space out and hyperfixate on my colouring in, and I'm gonna be having a great time regardless. So whatever works for you works for me. But I love that idea. If it's not incredibly expensive. I will maybe see about booking out a place like Craft Pottery, because doing that as a group, oh my god, that would be so fucking nice. I would love that. I could make a little while we wait mug. I could make my own merch. Guys, this idea is blooming. What if I did that? Anyways, that's for me to worry about, you guys. If we were doing something like that, like if I had to hire out a space or something, then I would maybe ask for like a donation or a pay what you can. But like we said, all of the resources, all of the whatever that comes from this podcast, I want it to be free for you. I want it to be accessible to everyone. This is an inclusive little community. Everyone is invited, and no one should have to pay if they cannot. But yeah, I would love to do something like that. It could even be a little like meet up in Kelvin Grove Park, have a little picnic, have a little sit, have a little dish, and do some crafts. I think that would be so much fun. I would love that. So that was just an idea that she had that I think would be super great in order for us to just like, if we're gonna build this community, if we're gonna do this together, we might as well meet each other. We might as well see each other and like hang out, guys. So I personally love that idea. Obviously, I know that it's like the foundation of an idea, but I will obviously look more into it and create more concrete plans if it's something that you all would be interested in. So yeah, let me know. I'm going to put some polls on the social media, and you can tell me if you think that it would be a good idea, and I'll maybe put out some options of what our first one could be, stuff like that. I think that would be so great, so wonderful. Like a group self-care sesh. Group self? I'll workshop that. I'll go ahead and workshop that name. Did you hear that? That was my pen clicking. Let me go ahead and check that one off the list. Okay. So this is my final little point, and I'm gonna round it up from this. But this week, whilst it has been tough and I've been pretty hard on myself, I've been putting a lot of pressure on myself. I've also been receiving a lot of kind of just like messages from, I'm quite spiritual, okay? You just gotta get used to it, alright? Like, you just gotta get used to the fact that I'm a pretty spiritual person, and like, I'm gonna maybe say some stuff that you think is a little silly, but just let me live. Okay, let me live, let me speak my truth, alright? So I've been receiving like messages from the world, messages from the earth, from the sky, and from the sun. I've been pulling a lot of oracle cards this week. Okay, get into oracle cards. Oh my god, I fucking love oracle cards so much. I love them. And I've pulled so many this week, just in different like little group activities that I was doing with friends and stuff. And I had Reiki this morning. It was fucking life-changing, by the way. Oh my god, it was so good. And I pulled an oracle card there. And essentially the message that I keep getting from these cards and from just the source and from everything that I've been doing has been, girl, relax, look after yourself, and stop fucking worrying about shit that doesn't even exist. Like, stop fretting about a future that is unclear, you know? And whilst the future is unclear, trust that we have your back, trust that something out there has your back, and that whatever path you go down, it's the correct path for you. So I'm not sure who needs to hear that also this week, but if there's something that you have been doing, if there's a project that you want to start but you haven't been starting because you've been letting fear get in the way, tell fear to fucking piss off. Hey, fear, take a hike, man. No one wants you here. Tell them to fuck off, fear. Bitch, get lost. You're not welcome here. And just go for it. For me, personally, I am so bored of constantly second guessing myself, constantly having imposter syndrome, telling myself I'm not good enough, telling myself I'm not worthy of anything. Like, it's bullshit. And who cares? Like, why even speak that kind of hatred to yourself? Like, because you may want to argue, like, yeah, constantly thinking that I'm great and that everything's going to work out for me just seems really narcissistic. Bitch, constantly preaching that you're never going to be good enough and that you're terrible and that you're the worst is just as narcissistic. You're talking about yourself incessantly, but in a negative light. So, hey, you may as well lift yourself up a little bit manifestation, babes. It doesn't have to be true right this second, but it will be. So yeah, this podcast is going to take off, and I'm going to build such an amazing community, and I'm going to help people, and in turn those people are going to really help me to find peace and positivity and clarity in this world and in this life through these struggles. So yeah, that was my little cookie little witchy moment. Okay, there's going to be some of those, all right, bear with. There's going to be a few of those. Before I wrap up, I just want to reiterate, Kick Mental Health, go and find them on Instagram, get in touch with them and get involved with them. If what I have told you about them seems to align with you, they do truly seem like, from the experiences that I have had with them, they seem like really lovely people, and they just genuinely want to help others. If you're into football, maybe go ahead and see if you can go along to a little football session. All of the information about that is posted regularly on their Instagram, so that is truly the best place to follow them. And they also post information about when their Zoom check-ins are, so you can go and have a little bit of a look at when the next one of those might be. And since I mentioned that I had my Reiki today, I would also like to shout out my friend and healer of all healers, Donna Blaney, Acacia Healing. She is truly like a miracle of a human being, and I am going to dedicate an entire episode to her because she deserves it. For right now, please go and check out Acacia Healing on Instagram. Okay, so it's Acacia_healing, so that's ACACIA_HEALING, Acacia Healing on Instagram. She has done so much for me, and I would like to dedicate an entire episode to her and sessions that I've had with her. So I think that's going to be my next one. So yeah, please go follow her at Acacia_healing on Instagram. Yeah, don't let insecurity, fear get in your way. Fuck that. Write down 3 positive things a day. Get rid of the fluff and find the kind of fun in self-care. All right, well, me and the new podcast mascot Terrence are going to head off. Terrence is the most adorable little creature I ever did see. I'm honestly unsure what he is. I think he's like a Loch Ness Monster type situation, because he only has teeny little arms. Oh god, you guys, you gotta see Terrence. Go visit my Instagram, whilewewait.pod, to see Terrence in all his glory, my little mascot. And I will see you in the next episode. Oh my god, guys, did you hear that? I'm a singer. Sorry. Love you. Bye.